stop sign. My full stop showed that I understood that I have to do a full stop at every T. Maintaining safe speed is a really important part about doing well on the driving test. Up ahead we see somebody turning left, another car going to the left to try to go around them. Trying to go around a left turning car on your driving test or even in life is a fail. If it's a one-lane road and a car is turning left, we're not meant to go around the car. We're meant to just wait. That way we don't accidentally interfere with other cars that might be turning left or surprise a pedestrian who might be trying to cross. So we see a lot of cars over here to the left that we're going around the straight car. And that's just a reminder that we might see some behavior from other cars that isn't necessarily following the law. So it's really important that you learn to be a law-abiding driver and follow all the rules. And that's what your examiner is going to be looking for. At this intersection where cross traffic doesn't stop, but I have really good visibility, I just scanned intentionally. I felt really safe going forward. I'm going to continue straight through this intersection. Because of this barrier, I'm going to creep forward a little more. Because it's a one-way street, I'm really focusing on the left, but I know that pedestrians or bikes could come from the right, so I am looking both ways for all hazards. At some point when you're out on the road, your examiner is going to see a nice open spot for you to pull over and park. When you're pulling over to park, you make a full lane change, which includes signal, mirrors, blind spot. And when you're pulling up to park, you want to make sure that you land parallel and that you don't block anyone's driveway. Here I am, ready to engage in another driving test requirement. You have to be able to reverse parallel to the curb for 3 car lengths. You have to look behind you to the right to make sure that nobody pops out from the sidewalk, and you are allowed to check your right mirror to make sure that your placement is parallel and that you stay in good position. You're not allowed to use your backup camera. So even though I have a backup camera, I don't get to use it on the test. And even if I wasn't testing and I was reversing 3 car lengths, I would look behind me, because looking behind me gives me the best view. Looking in the backup camera only gives me a limited view. So you can use your backup camera as a resource when you're in tight spaces in parking lots, but if you're reversing any distance, you want to look behind you for cars or people. Then your examiner will tell you to re-enter the road, and remember that also counts as a lane change. So of course you'll signal, check mirror and blind spot. And I'm going to make a left here, yielding to other traffic and thinking about how the car facing me got here first. So even though we both had stop signs, they get to go first and then I go. As I approach the trail, I'm cautious for the runner and I look diagonal to make sure no one else is coming.
I just got paid $60,000 for my car.
Turn that off. They'll ask you to put on your headlights. In our car, that's twist forward 1, 2, 3.
Thrice.
And then thrice. I like that. And then twist back. Do you remember on Aviv's Volkswagen, it was a little switch on the dashboard?
I'm not sure I remember about that specific car, but I've driven cars where it's a little switch on the dashboard and sometimes it's confusing. And
Yes.
I'm like, there's simply no lights in this car.
Yes.
And they're just down there.
Yes, so different brands. Specifically the German cars apparently use like a dashboard thing.
They want to make you work for it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then
Sorry to the Germans.
let's tap the foot brake.
I am
Just
on.
yep, you're just going to release it and tap it. And they're just going to be back there making sure your brake lights work. Perfect. They'll also say something like, how do you put on your windshield wipers?
And then I'll put on my windshield wiper.
Perfect. They might say, without putting on your windshield wiper, show me how you would. In which case you would just put your finger there. Exactly.
Okay.
They will say, point to your defroster button.
Yes, which in this car is this one.
You got it. International symbol, warm air blowing up. You got it. Nice. They will say, honk your horn. And go ahead and do that, even though it feels really weird.
I'm scared this person.
Perfect. That was a very nice little honk. The fun thing about taking the driving test, you might remember, is when you're in line, you see all the people ahead of you doing all this stuff too. So it's sort of like a cacophony of noises.
Cacophony?
Cacophony?
Yes.
No R?
Cacophony is a car coffin.
Oh, car cacophony.
Yes.
So I made an accidental pun.
Can I make note that even though I know where all of these things are in the car and have been driving for 9 years, when you asked me where they were, I got nervous and then I second guessed myself.
Yes.
So it's very normal to get a little nervous, but just to trust that you know.
Yes. And also, you can sit in your own car before the test and like when you're waiting for the other people and you're just like, okay, I know where everything is, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Another thing that they're going to ask you about is your emergency brake.
Yes.
Little foot pedal and then release.
Yep.
And then they'll have you do your hand signals as if you are a cyclist,
Okay.
which you really
I think
are.
I recall this is left.
Yes.
And this is right.
Yes. And then stop.
It's it's a tough one.
It's awkward, yeah. But let's say your brake lights failed.
Yes.
And you had to tell people that you were going to stop, you'd be leaning out going, I'm stopping.
Right,
and it would be awkward, but hopefully that will never happen.
Yeah.
Do you use your hand signals as a cyclist?
I do.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. Yes. And you always wear a helmet?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Okay, good. All right. So we just did the pre-drive checklist. After the pre-drive checklist, the examiner comes and gets in the car with you. You make sure anyone who ever gets in the car with you has on their seatbelt, and they're going to have the handy dandy score sheet open on a clipboard. They record throughout the whole lesson, you might recall.
Oh, I recall very well.
Yes.
Yes.
When you get a perfect score, they put a little circle. And then if you make any errors, you might remember they put little lines.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do we want to let anybody in on the family joke?
I did very, very well on my driver's test. No, I think it's something like 16 points off that you can...
You're allowed to miss 15.
You're allowed to miss 15, and I missed 14.
Yes.
And the driver said, I can tell that you are not comfortable in this car, but I'm going to pass you anyway.
Yeah.
I had just returned from summer camp, or maybe that was the permit test. I don't know. One thing I'll know about... I was definitely performing. Like, someone had told me every 2 seconds to, like, change which mirror you're looking in, and so I was driving and I was like, oh, and I wasn't driving for myself and to feel comfortable. I was trying to do what, I mean, you should do what is expected of you, and you should be meeting those expectations, but I was just like not staying comfortable and at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you're able to reflect on that. What else? Were you about to say something else?
Also, I stopped at a 4-way stop and waved someone else to go and then got a point off for that, so.
Unnecessary stop. Yeah.